Hey everybody, this is Modern Refugee in Middle Earth. I wanted to do a video talking a little bit about some of the differences between the book when it comes to the Lord of the Rings and then the movies. And now I have both. These are the extended edition DVDs that I've had for literally years, and they have been well watched. And then, of course, I have my multiple copies of the actual Lord of the Rings book. Now, I am always going to revert back to the book. To me, that is the gold standard as far as a source material. Some of the things that they put into the movies, although the movies were extremely well done visually. I loved a lot of the visuals that they did in the movies, but some of the ways that they changed the story, I don't think that they needed to do that to make great movies. And spoiler alert, I'm going to talk a little bit about that all now, but it's been over 20 years since the Lord of the Rings movies came out, and the book has been out for even longer than that, so I don't think I'm really ruining the story for anybody. But the first thing I've already mentioned in some of my previous videos, and that is Tom Bombadil and the Barrow Downs. The swords that the hobbits took out of the Barrow Downs proved to be extremely valuable down the road, and they actually had a specific purpose in the narrative, which the movies completely cut out. It was just random, and I never cared for that because there was a whole subplot in with those swords why they did what they did. And I'm talking about Mary's sword, and that's the one that basically broke the spell that helped Eowyn kill the Witch King. And that is kind of the first one. And staying on the sword theme, the second one is they didn't give Aragorn the reforged Narsil or Andril till the end of basically the video narrative. It was in The Return of the King where they gave him the sword. And the sword in the book, Narsil, was actually reforged and renamed Andril before the Fellowship even left. And I think that that takes away from when they didn't show that in the movies. I think it takes away from the path that Aragorn was going to be set on. From that point, when the sword was reforged, he was the king of Gondor in my mind, and then everything that went along with that, and he just had to struggle up that hill to claim what was rightfully his. And they always portrayed Aragorn as kind of like a reluctant, I don't know if I really want to be king, but that wasn't the case in the book. That was another thing that I never cared for in the movie narrative. Another thing was the Battle of Helm's Deep. Helm's Deep was a massive fortress that was actually built by the men of Gondor, and then it was given to the Rohirrim, the men of Rohan. And in the movie, Rohan retreated to Helm's Deep because it was their fastness, it was their stronghold, it was the place that they could defend, 100 to 1. And in the movie, they show some elves show up to help them out. I never cared for that because in the book, no elves showed up to help the men of Rohan. They had to reach down, pull up their cojones, and they had to, that 10 to 1, 100 to 1 fight, they had to fight that without the help of anybody. And I always think that that took away from the courage and the bravado and the bravery and the sacrifice of the men of Rohan. And not that it wasn't very visually well done and looked good when Haldir showed up with his little company of elven archers, but that did not take place in the book at all. And like I said, while it was visually done well, I don't care for that it took away from the odds that the men faced together and conquered. And that's one thing that always bothered me. Another thing, when there was like conflict between Sam and Frodo in The Return of the King, and there was no conflict between Sam and Frodo in the book in any way, shape, or form. In fact, in later years, Tolkien actually said the true hero of The Lord of the Rings was actually Sam, because Sam was your everyday person. He was your everyday guy. He was your everyday Joe that just faced, looked after his friends and took on a hard challenge, and then afterward moved on to like a regular life. And Sam was just your everyday average guy. And there was no conflict between Sam and Frodo. In fact, in the end, Frodo left everything to Sam when he left and went to the Undying Lands. And that was sort of implied in the movie, but they never did a really good job of that, I thought. I thought they could do more of that. And on that whole Frodo and Sam thing, the other thing was the Scouring of the Shire. The Scouring of the Shire was completely kept out of the movie. They kind of showed a little piece of it when Sam and Frodo looked into the mirror of Gladriel, and I showed that the Shire was under attack. That's basically all they showed. But Saruman didn't die on the Tower of Orthanc or get locked up in the Tower of Orthanc. He actually died in the Shire. And from that point forward, that whole narrative was not in the book or in the movies, and I think that it took away from what the hobbits did afterward, because Gandalf always told Frodo, you guys have been trained for this. You guys were trained to take care of problems like this when Saruman and his ruffians invaded the Shire, and the whole thing was kept right out. And I don't know why. It closed that narrative, and it showed the importance of how the hobbits had grown. But anyway, this is Modern Refugee in Middle Earth. Just wanted to share those few things with you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed my little take on it here, and you guys have a good one.